the way this whole film started is I saw a short little article. I mean, it was this tiny little article that mentioned that these rural peasant farmers were marching in the streets crying out against Monsanto, saying, "Down with Monsanto," and they were threatening to burn seeds. We also heard stories of some farmers in a completely different region of Haiti who were so desperate and hungry, when they got the seeds, were coated with the fungicide. You know how they're green and red. Well, they didn't have gloves or anything to handle them, so they were touching them. And then some of the farmers actually washed the fungicide off and ground it up and used it for food.
And what we found is that the story's here in the U.S. Everything stems from here and then goes around the world. And Monsanto donated those seeds to Haiti. What was interesting is that they gave them to USAID, and USAID then tried to sell them to the peasants. So they were donated, and Monsanto gave, I think they ended up getting about 65 tons, and the rest was never donated after that. We really made this film for people who know nothing about GMOs. We want to reach the 300 million Americans that don't know anything. And around the world, people are far more educated. So for us, when we saw that peasant farmers in Haiti were burning seeds and saying no, when seeds are life. I mean, that is the essence of life. And right after an earthquake, why would they do that? It's just staggering how little we know here in the U.S.
In the film, I become a little obsessed. I think I probably still am with, the fact that they're everywhere. We're surrounded. Because you can't escape them, really, in this country. It's very difficult. We can here. This is like a little oasis, organic land.
To a lot of people, the issue of GMOs is about food, and you'll see in the film, for us, it really starts at seeds. Like that's the most important thing. That's where all of our food comes from. And we're trying to get people back to that idea of where it actually comes from. It doesn't just show up in a store. It doesn't just, you don't drive through and pick it up. It's seeds.
Making this film, I read a big stack of Wendell Berry books. And in one of his collection of essays, which I've scribbled into the front of The Unsettling of America, but it's not from this book, Wendell Berry asks, how can we work without doing irreparable damage to the world and its creatures, including ourselves? Or, put another way, how can we live without destroying the sources of our life? And I think, further we could take that question to how can we live, work, and play, and regenerate the sources of our life. And I believe that you all are doing that. And I believe that GMOs matter because they are the pinnacle achievement of industrial agribusiness, agri-science. They've, of course, taken culture out, which means taking people out of the equation. And that system and that paradigm never asks this question. Instead, it asks, how can we produce more? What about the bottom line?
Hans Herren, the head of the Millennium Institute, says that we produce, 4,000 kilocalories per person per household. So we produce enough food right now to feed 14 billion people. And half of that gets thrown away. So we're overproducing. We don't need GMOs to feed the world. We have enough food. It's all about policy, and that's what needs to change in order to make sure that people have enough food to eat around the world.
Not necessarily organic versus conventional or GMO versus non-GMO. We are divided between exploiting and nurturing. That's what I so love about organic farming, the organic approach, that it appreciates and respects the interconnectedness of all of life and understands that we too are nature, and that we must all live and work together.